Today will be a day to remember for the rest of your life. The Pro Football Hall of Fame is excited to present the heart of a Hall of Famer program connected by Extreme Networks. With over 100 Hall of Famers participating, we have reached 47 states and countries all over the world, sharing the message that football is more than a game and can teach Americans important life values like commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty.
You have to make right decisions even when nobody's watching you.
Well, respect is not just given out. It's not handed out like a brochure. It's earned.
Today, you are presented with an opportunity to meet and learn from one of the greatest football players of all time. But more important than that, the chance to see that their Hall of Fame life wasn't given to them. They didn't roll out the bed great. They put the work in, on the field, in the weight room, in the classroom, in their communities. They made themselves a Hall of Famer on and off the field.
Your feet can't take you where your mind's never been.
Because you can make it, but it's just gonna take a little hard work and some effort and the drive and determination.
And today, you will learn you can do the same thing they did. You don't have to have a gold jacket or a bronze bust to make a difference in the lives of others. It's your decision whether you want to be a successful student, son, daughter, brother, or sister.
If attitudes are contagious, is your attitude worth catching?
It's integrity as well, because when you decide to pursue something and you don't quit, that says a lot about you.
Commitment to excellence. We can all aspire to be the best.
Welcome to a once-in-a-lifetime program, the heart of a Hall of Famer program, connected by Extreme Networks.
I'm extremely proud and humbled to stand on the stage today with Jack Butler, Dermontti Dawson, Cortez Kennedy, Curtis Martin, Willie Roaf, and join the other 267 brothers who are in the Professional Football Hall of Fame.
You're a beast. I used to love watching you maul people. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Willie Roaf walk. He doesn't look that athletic, but as soon as he takes off, it's like a deer. And this guy was arguably one of the best, or the best to ever do it.
To all the NFL tackles that came before me, guys like Jonathan Ogden, Eric Williams, Orlando Pace, Willie Roaf, Jackie Slater, Art Shell, and Tony Baselli. It was an honor to watch you guys. Thanks for paving the way.
Which also started with, of course, the Ferg, Dave Zott, Grunhard, and Shields, which we changed pieces after a while, and it became Wigman, John Tate, Brian Waters, Kendall Gammons, Trent Green, and of course, my draft classmate of '93 and fellow Hall of Famer, Willie Roaf.
Jonathan Ogden, Orlando Pace, Walter Jones, Willie Roaf. I mean, these are the guys I had to play against sometimes. I mean, as I stand here and say their name, I still get chills. It's really hard for me to thank you guys. I know a lot of you up here on the stage. You know, the things you did to me wouldn't be legal if we weren't wearing a helmet and shoulder pads. But believe me, I'm thankful I'm on your team now. And thank you for what you guys did to help me be better.
Wow, what an introduction. You know, as an offensive lineman, I didn't get singled out in front of a large audience very often. When I did, it was usually by a referee who was singling me out by saying, holding number 77. That's not gonna happen today.
All right, with that, I'd like to welcome everybody here to Blanche Ely High School in Pompano Beach, Florida. We're back here again like we were last year. Obviously, if you've seen this program before, last year we were not able to do the program due to some weather issues, but we're so happy to be back here today for our latest installment of the Pro Football Hall of Fame's Heart of a Hall of Famer series, connected by Extreme Networks, with the gentleman sitting here to my left, Mr. Willie Roaf. My name is Jake Ray. I'm the Youth and Education and Leadership Manager at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, and it's my honor to be sitting here moderating the session today. Our mission at the Pro Football Hall of Fame is to honor the greatest of the game, to preserve its history, to promote its values, and to celebrate excellence together. And those values we promoted, those of commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty, all of which made this gentleman right here one of the best football players of all time, but also made him a great person off the field, a great member of his community, a great family member, a great businessman, and truly can make anybody watching this program a great teacher, a better student, and a better member of your community. I'm excited today, and hopefully everybody tuned in here as well to hear how these values impacted Mr. Roaf's life both on and off the field. Before we get started, though, I do have some thank yous I'd like to pass out. First and foremost, I'd like to thank our great partners at Extreme Networks for everything they do for us at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and truly for many school districts across the country. Without their support of this program, we would not have the opportunity to be here. Students would not have the opportunity to hear from Hall of Famers. So thank you so much for your support throughout the school year. Secondly, I'd like to thank our teachers, administrators, educators, anybody that shared this program out with their students, is watching us right now, whether you're on YouTube, on Zoom, and especially the students and staff here at Blanche Ely for allowing us to come into their school to host the program today. And then lastly, you have to thank the students. Without this program here, students, this program really doesn't take place. I know I have a lot of questions I'm ready to ask, but that's not why we're here. We're here to hear all the great questions that you, the students, have. So if you have a question, we're going to be going to some schools throughout the country today that are live and interactive. So they're going to be asking some questions. If you're watching us on Zoom and you're a view-only school, go ahead and put your questions right there in the chat. And if you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and put your questions in the live chat as well. No matter where you're watching today, if you take pictures, video, whether you're here in front of us or you're watching us online, go ahead and share those online. Use that. Make sure you tag at Pro Football HOF and you tag at Extreme Networks and use the hashtag HOF values, and your posts just might be reshared. So with that being said, enough of me talking. I'd like to formally introduce our Hall of Famer here today, Mr. Willie Roaf. Willie, welcome to the Heart of a Hall of Famer program.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're super grateful for you taking time out of your busy schedule here to be part of the program. And I always joke that the perks of hosting is I always get to ask the first question. We mentioned those values: commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty. Out of those five, is there one that sticks out that maybe impacted your career more than others? Or are they all kind of cohesive and work together?
I think they're all kind of cohesive and work together. It takes a what do you say? A village to build a city, or the saying, and it was a lot of people collectively that helped me along the way, helped me stay focused, and coming from a family where I had both my parents, really helped me growing up in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and a lot of guys, we have to deal with stuff in life and things, and you just got to stay committed and stay focused, and keep your head, keep everything, stay humble, especially when you start getting success and start, seeing yourself being in any field you do. You have to stay humble and stay focused.
How did those values that football teach you? And so first of all, talk a little bit how those values helped you as an athlete. How did they help you on the field, in the weight room, in the boardroom watching film? How did those values help you become a Hall of Fame football player?
Well, in high school, I was playing football and basketball, so I played both when I got to high school. But I started playing football when I was about 10 years old. We started playing football when we were, like these young men. I'm from the South, so you can pretty much play football in the yard or play sports year round. So, I think having that guidance at home, with my parents, and my dad played football at Michigan State as well, helped me along the way, and having that support when I got to Louisiana Tech and him always being there, was good. So, a lot of these young men probably they have to look for somebody and be a father figure and role model. So you have to find somebody that you can look up to and want to make sure you emulate, but you always have to take care of your business on and off the field. And that doesn't stop, a coach will tell you and the principal will tell you, that's a part of life. At 50-some years old, I still got to watch how I conduct myself and what I do. It doesn't end just because I'm a Hall of Fame football player. In fact, now it's kind of more so now with everything going on in the world, to make sure you're trying to do the best you can.
Talk a little bit about, I like that you brought that up. Talk a little bit about what, obviously being a professional athlete, somebody in the NFL and as good as you were, you have a certain platform that you can use. How does that change when you become a Hall of Famer? What is that platform now that you've seen once you put that gold jacket on? And what are some of the things you're doing out in the community that being a Hall of Famer allows you to do?
Yeah, it's good. That's a good point. When I leave here today, we're doing something with Wounded Warriors. So I'm going to a luncheon to do. Me and my wife want to get more involved in. We live in the Stewart area, Jensen Beach area, so we're trying to get more involved. Obviously, staying grounded with the Word and going to church and reading my devotional. And it's funny. I had 4 children when I got in the Hall. I had been married before, but then I had obviously I was a player, so I had a few moms. So my whole thing was getting my life in order and getting things lined up right. You deal with life, and I got married the next year, and I've been married 10 years now, and have a stepdaughter, and I have 4 children and 3 grandchildren, and our grandson kind of lives with us between us and my wife's parents right now at the current moment. But yeah, one of them. But like I said, keeping that structure in my life was important. When I don't have structure, when you play sports all your life, you need structure and balance. So for me, having a wife, having structure and having a balance is good and key for me.
Awesome. Now to go back to the original question that we talked about the values, you talked about how they helped you as a football player. How were you able to take those values and then apply them to life off the field during your career? And now that you're outside of your career, applying those to your everyday life, being a dad, being a granddad, how do you use those values and why are they so important?
It's important to get back to your roots. When I was playing football, I would say this. When I was playing football and got to the college level, I was given the gift. I was 220, 235 when I stepped on campus soaking wet. I ran like a 4.9. When I left college at 305, I ran a 4.9. So, I hit the weights, I hit the power clean, I hit the squat. I was never a big squat guy, but upper body, I was real strong. I did 275 the other day, a couple sets of 10. So I'm still real strong upper body wise, but it was incline bench. But I was given a gift, and like I said, the structure and balance. When you play sports and you get to that level, sometimes the outlet with everything you're dealing with a life, you get to play sports and you get to enjoy and do that part, and you can escape things playing sports. But like I said, the values and the structure, it all comes back forward when you get done with the game, and when you have to go home and sit at home is when you need balance and you need that structure in your life. So the money and all that stuff that can come and go. That's not gonna make you happy. I mean, you can have all the jewelry and stuff, but I realize now that a lot of that stuff wasn't as important as I thought it was at the time.
I think that's cool because you look at the game today and a lot of that stuff. Idolize isn't the right word, but being flashy, walking in the nice dress clothes, in the out of the box dress clothes, that's kind of popular in today's game. So I definitely like that you brought that part up there. Why we're here today is we're here to hear questions from our students. So we're going to start with right here with the students in front of us here in Florida. So if you have a question, shoot your hand up. Go ahead. Don't be shy. I'm going to take the first person that puts their hand up to ask a question. Don't be shy. Not every day you get to ask talk to a Hall of Famer.
Somebody else ask a question.
Go ahead. The hardest challenge you went through in your life. That's a great question.
You know what? I had no idea. When I was coming up, and first of all, when I got recruited to La Tech, 2 of my teammates were All-State. They went on a recruiting trip. They came and saw film on them, and then that's how they saw me. So I was just happy to get a scholarship. I didn't realize, first of all, you got to get through the college level. And then when you get to the college level, I got drafted top 10 to New Orleans. Detroit traded the pick. And I had no idea that I was going to have a chance to be a Hall of Famer until I got in my career about 4 or 5 years. And I had stacked about 4 or 5 Pro Bowls in a row. And I said, you know what? If I continue this, I'll have a chance. It was, I will say about that 4th, 5th year, and we're losing games. I'm hanging out. I'm in New Orleans. So I had to balance my private life and make sure I wasn't drinking, guys want to smoke a little bit, whatever you were doing, and making sure I wasn't doing that and letting that be too much of a distraction, having kids, for me concentrating on football. So 97, I got a little too big. I went to Duke in 98 and lost weight and got in shape. And after that, I said, I'm going to take this football stuff more seriously, and I'm not going to let the distractions of the outside stuff interfere with me focusing on the football stuff. So that was my main thing, was staying focused on the football stuff and keeping my private life out of it. Because what happens is when you get money and you get fame and stuff like that, then the other stuff comes, the girls, that, all that stuff comes along with it. So you just have to make sure you can balance it and understand what that's there for, because that wasn't there before. So why do you think it's there now? It's there. It's not you. You just have more stuff now.
Kind of off of that, being in the spotlight, gaining all the success, all the recognition. You talked there in your speech. The only time you were called out really is when something wrong happened, which wasn't good. But you get that recognition, you make the Pro Bowls, and that Hall of Fame resume starts to build.
Yep.
How do you remain humble through all of that success that you see on the field?
That's tough. You got to be a little confident. I'm not saying you got to be confident. You just when you walk around and you deal with people, you treat people like you want to be treated, and that's the main thing. Is walk. These guys know they watch social media. If guys are posting, if they got all this jewelry, got stacks of cash and all this stuff, well, people gonna be watching you. You flaunt it, so that comes along with it. So, I think that's quieted down a little bit now. I keep up. I saw what happened. I was a fan of Pop Smoke and these guys, and it's just you just have to watch how you move and watch. The social media now is a blessing and a curse. It's good for people to see you, but it shouldn't be. People want to be with you or whatever because you got so many followers or who you got so many friends on social media. It should be about you. So, like I said, it's a different world now. It's a little different now, and you just got to navigate through it.
Awesome. All right, we got enough time for one more question from our students in here. So if you got a question, go ahead, throw your hand up.
I know we got some linemen in there.
Any questions? Don't be shy. Go ahead. Growing up, who'd you look up to? Who was that mentor?
My pops, really. He didn't really talk about what he did on the field. He got to Michigan. My dad played at Michigan State, late 50s, early 60s, and he was co-valedictorian of his class. He's a real good student. He tore his knee up his first year at Michigan State, and then he was real smart, zoology major. So he went to dental school, and him and my uncle came back to Pine Bluff, and he was the local dentist, was on the school board. So my pops, I looked up to him. He was a good man. And, like I said, he grew up with 8 brothers and sisters and wanted to come back and do stuff in this community. So, but I got a lot of athletic ability from both sides of the family. Like I said, it was scholarship or military. I had like a 2.7. I took hard classes and I scored. I didn't score on the ACT at first, but then I scored like on the SAT. So then I got the scholarship to La Tech. I went down there and got redshirted, and I started every year. And we played Florida, Emmitt Smith last year, and I had a little tough game. And Coach, we went and played them Akron Zips. And I left that game, and Coach had a talking with me on the bus. And after that, I was a redshirt freshman, but but we had to play, So, after that, we had to play, so I had to learn on the job. And back then in my college, we had a pro set offense, so it wasn't a left tackle. I was called the weaker quick tackle. So we flipped the formation. So if you go back and watch some games of me in college from Louisiana Tech, we flipped the formation the whole game for 4 years. So we flipped left to right the whole game.
We were talking a little bit. You were talking about before we started about your dad and some of the things he went through. Can you tell everybody, obviously he went to Michigan State, but in the 50s and 60s, that was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what are some of the first that he did, and then how that impacted your life?
Well, he was back then. It was, other than going to the SWAC conference, the SWAC schools, black athletes from the South had to go. Michigan State was part. It's called the Underground Railroad of Athletes. So he's part of that first group of guys that went to Michigan State. Other than guys playing in California, guys in the South and different areas, they had to go to Michigan to play football. So he was part of that first group of the black athletes that transitioned, that started them recruiting the black athletes. And then they came and beat Alabama in some of those schools, and then they integrated around 70, and that was Dwight Stevenson and Adi Newsom and those guys that came in and started going to school, Alabama and those different schools. But my dad was one of the first group of the black athletes to play in major college football. And then I went to La Tech, which is 4 miles from Grambling. So I did have a good relationship with Eddie Robinson, who was the legendary coach at Grambling State. And then when I left, coach was talking about UAPB. When I left UAPB, the gunslinger was the coach there. When he left, he coached Jerry Rice at Mississippi Valley. So when I was going to Louisiana Tech, Archie Cooley was taking over at UAPB as the head coach when I was going to college.
Awesome. All right. I got some now. Not only do we have students here in front of us, we got a bunch of students connected in from all over the country. So we're going to go to a school back in Ohio. We're going to go to North Ridgeville Academic Center for our next question. So students there in North Ridgeville, you know the drill. Go ahead, step up to the microphone and the camera, state your name, the grade that you're in, and then go ahead with your question. All right, we got our student walking up here. Go ahead and say that question nice and loud.
What do you hope your legacy will be both on and off the field?
Ooh, great question about legacy. What do you think? What do you want your legacy to be when it's all said and done as a football player and then as a member of the community?
Well, that I was a nice guy, and I conducted myself as a nice person and treated people like I wanted to be treated. And I've always, like I said, when you come and have to, you worked hard to earn it. I worked hard to earn it, and that was it. I appreciate what I did and what I achieved, and I understand now I'm in a different phase of life. I mean, I was, I was playing football. I ended my career about 20 years ago. So 2005 was my last season. So I appreciate it, but I understand that chapter in my life's been over for a while.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. And I like the idea of legacy because we talk a lot about it at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, working with schools and kids and teachers. When you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, you ask who is your most influential person in your life. A lot of people say their parents, but then it's, my high school English teacher or my high school football coach. Looking back on your career, when someone, like we saw there in those intro videos, all these fellow Hall of Famers talking about playing against you in your playing career and how you opened doors for them, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot to have the respect from your peers, and all these guys that are up for the class, all these guys now that are coming up for the Hall, I have some type of, either I played with them, I played against them. Will Shields, who was in that video, and our classmates, and Will beat me for the Allen Trophy. And I remember he wasn't at the award banquet, and I said, "Who is this Will Shields guy?" And coming out of Louisiana Tech. So, and I ended up playing with him in Kansas City, and he didn't miss a game in 14 years. So I say we're about tit for tat now.
Yeah.
I can't discredit him for beating me for the Allen Trophy because he ended up having a great career.
Yep. All right, we're gonna go to another school for a question. We're gonna go to East. I know I'm gonna pronounce this wrong. Arondecoy. Probably pronounced that wrong. For our next question, so our students there at East, go ahead and have your students step up to the microphone, unmute, state your name, and then go ahead and ask your question. All right, we got our student. Make sure you say it nice and loud.
Yeah.
Okay, so I heard you had a knee injury, and so I was wondering how you recovered mentally and physically from your knee injury.
So looking back on your career,
question,
how do you recover from injuries mentally?
The first knee injury I had, it's funny, I wasn't playing football in the 7th grade, and my sister was in band, and I'm from Arkansas. So after the game, everybody wants to go out there and play football. So a kid hit me and I tore a ligament in my left knee. And I played basketball that year. That was the only year I didn't play football. And then the first injury I had in the NFL, I had a scope in my fourth year. And back then I had a meniscus tear, coach. I had the surgery. I missed 1 week and I was back in 12 days. And then the big one was I tore my MCL in 96. And then my right knee finally gave out on me in 01, my 9th year. I tore my ACL meniscus and then I had surgery and then I got traded to Kansas City. But because I had the scope and came back, I kind of healed kind of fast. So I was able to come back off the ACL in my 9th year and was able to play another 4 years. So, I mean, now with the surgeries, it's easier to come back off of ACL than a patella tendon or Achilles. But, you still got to put in work, y'all. If y'all saw Nick Chubb was out there with 3 minutes left and tore his ACL the other week, and I was sorry to see that. And the other young man, Phillips, tore his Achilles, and they both were having good years. So it's a lot of rehab. It's a lot of work, but, you have to stay strong mentally and know that you're going to be able to bounce back from it.
All right, got a question here that's coming in from some of our audience who aren't connected in, but viewing the program. This is from Mackenzie, who goes to Volmer Elementary School. Wants to know, did you ever take on a leadership role when you were a kid? Whether it's middle school, high school, maybe even early college years. Was there a leadership role that you took, captain, something in the classroom?
No, I was kind of always in the background, kind of just kind of quiet, just working hard.
Yep.
And you get vocal on the line. Now during the game, yeah, I'm not gonna say in the classroom, with the guys, yeah, we gonna kid around and joke with each other, but I was just kind of always one of the guys, man. I was always one of the guys and trying to fit in. And I tell you what, some guys, you get to a point and you're like, do I hang out? I'm a Pro Bowler. Where some guys want to hang out with Pro Bowl guys or the guys making more money than the other guys on the team. So when you start having that stuff happening, then you're gonna have some problems. So from the guy making the most money to the guy that's on the practice squad or the guy that's on special teams, everybody's important and everybody plays their role. So, just like with the coaching staff, the trainers, everybody's important. It's a team game. When it's a championship team, it goes from the front office all the way down to the people taking care of the field. It's a team deal. It's important. Like because I was in Kansas City. Kansas City was more of a college atmosphere, and I'm telling you, those rings and that team is very important to all of them, to the whole community, because it's a smaller town and they love their football up there.
They sure do. We talked about at the beginning what we do at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, how it's our mission to honor the greats of the game, like the gentleman sitting here to my left, but also to preserve its history. At our core at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, we are a museum preserving the history of the great game of professional football. So we thought, what better way to showcase that professional history, showcase what we do at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, to send it live to the Hall of Fame gallery, kind of the biggest, best room that we have at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So we've got Jerry Shockey, the Senior Director of Youth Education and Leadership at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, in our Hall of Fame gallery near something that probably looks very, very familiar to you. So Jerry, whenever you're ready, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Thank you, Jake. And thank you, Mr. Roaf, for connecting in here to these students all across the country and being there live with the students there in Florida. And yep, we are joined by, you can see right down here, the bronze bust of Mr. Roaf. And so I want the students to understand that are tuned in, those that are there live, those that are tuned in on Zoom, that are panelists, that are attendees, and then also all the students that are tuning in via YouTube live, to understand, just what big of an honor this is to be speaking with someone like this. I mean, in my day, I'm 46 years old. We did not have technology like this to be able to have a Hall of Famer into your classroom. I mean, this is so cool. And to think about this just for a second, I want to give you an idea of just how big of an honor it is. Since the game has been played, football at any level, Little League, middle school, high school, college, the NFL, there have been roughly 300 million to play the game. If we take that and break that down a little smaller, we go to the college level, there have been about 5 million. We take that there to the professional level, there have been close to 30,000 that have been paid to play, coach, officiate, or administrate the game of football. There are only 371 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So it just gives you an idea of just how big of an honor it is to be enshrined here in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And so, and Will, you've done this program a few times with us, going back some years now since your induction. But, you know, one of the things we seem to have quite often on this is our offensive linemen, you know, and so offensive linemen seem to have, for the most part, this mentality of staying behind the scenes. Yeah. What has that position taught you? And it sounds like just growing up that you were kind of stayed behind the scenes anyway. So the position really, I think, fit your personality type anyways. But what has the game taught you about humility, but also understanding, even if you're not the star of the show, you still have a role to play to make the team successful?
Yeah, good point. You know, with linemen, the accolades come, and like you said, we're not the focal point of everything. And you know, it's great to have a good cohesive group, and it's always a team effort. And like I said, it's always somebody that's behind that's helping you. And I will go back to the first time I got to visit Canton was when we played the Akron Zips. We played the Akron Zips, and we took a tour of that Canton in was that 1989. So I got to visit Canton then, and then I got to visit it again. Well, when I was in the NFL, we played the Hall of Fame game. But I remember us as a team going on a tour of the Hall of Fame and just being like, wow, you know, and that was years ago. And what it would be for any of us to get a chance to be in here. And lo and behold, I ended up being a Hall of Famer. But, you know, you stay focused. And again, when I see some of my teammates or family members, the people, you know, if they were going the wrong direction, you know, I would be the one to try to talk to them and make sure we were doing things the right way, you know, and that was the main thing, you know, growing up, was making sure we were always outside playing sports and doing that type of stuff. So we weren't getting in any trouble. So that was a good thing, that we were just playing ball, playing a lot of basketball, you know, any type of ball. So we just stayed, you know, doing that a lot. Probably a little more than we were doing our homework, but, you know, like I said, we weren't getting in a lot of trouble, and we were minding our business.
And I wanted students just to understand, like, you don't have to be the quarterback to be an active member and participating member of a team. You know, it's all positions are equally important. Without one, and that's the beauty of football, that's different than any other sport. You can't have one person dominate a game. It's impossible. All 11 people have to execute, no matter how important you think your role is or not important. Don't do your job one time, and you'll see how important your job is when you don't do your assignment that you're supposed to do. And so, can you talk about that? Maybe the difference, like you said, you played, you know, a lot of different sports. What's unique about, you know, talking about that teamwork element about football compared to like a basketball? You know, like LeBron James can take over a game. You can't take over a football game by yourself. You need your teammates. So talk about the differences, just even you're growing up playing sports, the differences in what football taught you about teamwork as compared to maybe another sport.
Well, football teaches you about hard work. You know, when it's hot out there and you got those pads on at camp, you know, you have to grind it out. You have to stay committed. And, you know, when you're sore and tired, you got to get up the next day and go to practice. You have to stay with it. And, you know, it teaches you to lean on each other and depend on each other, because if that guy next to you and you aren't on the same page, then you're not going to do your job correctly. And if most left tackles are the blind side, if I get beat clean and he takes a shot on that quarterback, then my quarterback's hurt. And you saw the other night, that young man was fighting through that game, but you know, they were going against a good defensive front, and we saw the kid from Washington get his name called a little bit. The right tackle was having a tough day. So, you know, at the end of the day, what I loved about it, you know, I'm a lot of times in a one-on-one battle with a guy, and it's mano a mano. You know, you have the team battle, but I'm also in a one-on-one battle with a guy, and you know, it's you and him. It's may the best man win. So that's the fun part of sports, is the competition and being able to play it at that level and being able to especially when you get to the pros, being able to walk around and be able to say that I'm one of the baddest dudes playing offensive line, you know, in the game it feels good when you can say that about anything you do, but especially when you play competitive sports.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Roaf. I appreciate it. And thank you to all the students that are tuning in here today. Jake, I'm going to send it back to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jerry. I want to talk a little bit. You've mentioned your career at Louisiana Tech now a few times. Obviously a smaller school than we're used to seeing nowadays, but some pretty awesome people coming out of that school, coming out of La Tech. This past season, you were honored as one of the Super Six at Louisiana Tech.
Yes.
What does that mean to you? Even have a statue built on campus there. What's that mean when you look back on your career?
Oh man. Well, like I said, the rest of the group was it was good because it was men and women. Carl Malone, power forward, one of the best ever to do it. Terry Bradshaw, who was the first round pick ever, who could have gone anywhere. Fred Dean, who was from Ruston, a good friend of mine, and me coming from Pine Bluff, and then we had Kim Mulkey, the ladies basketball coach. She's the first coach to win as a player, a coach, assistant coach, and head coach. She was the player at La Tech, assistant coach, and when they won the championship, and the head coach. Teresa Witherspoon, and I guess that's it. So it was good that it was women and men that got to go, and it was different sports. So to have a statue anyway is very special, and I'll cherish that. And whenever the best thing I guess I can say about being in the Hall of Fame is, and stuff like that is, when I'm long gone, my family will be able to go to Canton and see my bust. They'll be able to go to Ruston and see a statue. And like I said, and walking across that stage with my father, he was so proud, you know, to walk across the stage with me because he had gotten hurt. So when your name goes in in those museums, you know, it's in there forever. So you know they can't take that away from you once you get in there.
So we've talked about the impact your dad has on your life. I want to talk about your mom too, who was the first Black woman to ever serve on the Arkansas Supreme Court, which you know, you look at your family, there's a lot of success coming with that last name of Roaf. What lessons did you learn from her?
You know, my mom and dad met on the blind date at Michigan State, and she was a zoology major. My brother was after me, but I was the last one my mother had. And then she went to law school after I was born, and she was in private practice for a while. And my mom was very smart. She skipped a grade, and she got appointed to the Supreme Court in the 90s, and then got appointed to the Court of Appeals. So she was a special woman. Like I said, growing up in my family, my sister went to Harvard and Princeton. My other sister went to Georgetown. So me and my brother were like, you know, we got to do something.
Pressure,
so there's some pressure. So I tell everybody, I got a PhD in football. So they got you know, I was a good student, but you know, it was tough over there, man, with the academics of my family, man. It was like, my dad said, you got to take trigonometry, you got to do your schoolwork. I remember this, Coach. It was my junior year. I was goofing. I played football, so I had my sophomore year. I didn't start to my junior. So I goofed off in school a little bit. And in my junior year, I was in there. We were getting ready for basketball season, and I didn't do good in school. My mama came and got me out that gym and said, "You're not playing." So I didn't get to play basketball till my senior year because I was goofing around. They did not. If you slipped in academics, they did not play that. So that was good for me though, because I know a lot of young men that don't have that structure at home and would have been just doing whatever they were doing and playing sports. And my parents held us to a standard. You got to have your academics, or I'm not letting you play sports. And then by the time, I'll tell you this, when I got drafted, my mom was like, well, I didn't know he was that good an athlete. All they do is eat popcorn and watch movies. I didn't know she had no idea that I was that good at football. She didn't go to a lot. My dad came out again. My mom had no idea that I was going to get drafted that high, and did not understand how good a football player, because she was not concerned about that at all.
That's cool. Very cool. I got one more interactive school we want to get to here today. So we're going to go to Holy Cross for our next question. So our students there at Holy Cross, go ahead and step up to the microphone and the camera. Go ahead and unmute it, state your name, and then go ahead with your question. So it looks like we got working on things right here. Going to get unmuted, and then we'll have our question. All right, go ahead whenever you're ready.
Good morning. My name's Albert Miller in 11th grade. And as you guys probably know, football is often referred to as the ultimate team sport. So how do you guys think that teamwork plays into helping someone out further in life?
Teamwork. So obviously talk about a little bit. So to kind of go off his question, I'm glad he brought that up. We talked about the huddle. You mentioned how when Jerry talked a little bit about how football isn't a team sport. There's 11 different people in that huddle that have 11 different jobs that come from 11 different backgrounds that could believe in 11 different things. But for some reason, they all come in that huddle and they all leave that huddle with one goal, all on the same track. So talk a little bit about how that idea of teamwork and that cohesiveness helps off the field.
It would help a lot right now, right?
Would, yes, it would.
We're all from all different backgrounds, white, black, Spanish, whatever. So, but we're all in this together. So we all have to get along. At the end of the day, we got to respect each other, respect each other's privacy, respect each other on and off the field, especially in college. We live in a dorm together. It was different. We ate together, we sleep together. So, guys want to be treated with respect, and that's the way we do in life. So I go places, people have their own political affiliations. I really don't get into politics stuff, but like I said, I try to walk and respect white, black, or whatever nationality. I walk and I treat people the way I want to be treated, and I leave the politics at home, with everything going on in the world. And these young men have a lot to deal with. I'm glad I'm at the point in life I'm at now. It's a different world now, and it was different back then. We didn't have cell phones. We had to call. You had to meet up with people. Everything is so with this phone. Everything is right there, everywhere, all over the world. So, like I said, we were in our own little world wherever we lived, and now the world has gotten shrunk, and they see everything, and what they see they want. So we were just happy to be in our it was different then, and like I said, again, it goes back to values and principles. Treat people like you want to be treated, and at the end of the day, I have to take accountability for my actions, and all these young men have to take accountability and look in the mirror at the end of the day. It's our lives, and we have to live it, and like I said, take accountability.
Awesome. I want to talk a little bit about what it means to you to be a Hall of Famer. I like the fact that you've got to visit the Hall of Fame as Willie Roaf, college player, Willie Roaf, NFL legend. That first time you walk through the door as Willie Roaf Hall of Famer, what's the difference in feeling it, and what's that moment like when you walk in knowing when you go upstairs you're going to see your bronze bust on display?
It's always special to go back. To go back to the hall and be a member is, I'm number 273 of the 300. Is less than 400 guys. I get to go in the room, and I get to be in the room with the guys I grew up watching play. I was a Steelers fan growing up. Everybody in Arkansas was Cowboy fans. I was a Steelers fan, so I get to go in the room with Mean Joe Green and Jack Laham and Jack Lambert, and rest in peace, Franco Harris, and all those guys. And man, it's just being in a room like this, and I'm in a room with all these guys that Randy Moss and Marshall, all these guys every year. It's special. They're the best of the best to do it, and I'm in the room with them. So, like I said, you get chills. Dick Buckus and seeing all those guys, man, before they, and you got to cherish those moments, man, because I got in the hall 11 years ago. 3 of my classmates are gone. The guy on that you saw on that tape, Chris Doman, got brain cancer. I went and saw him in the hospital. He's gone. So you never know.
Mentioned being a Steelers fan, I do got to have a little bit of a plug here. On January 20th, the Pro Football Hall of Fame is going to unveil a new and celebratory display, some recognition for the Steelers called a Legacy Forged in Black and Gold to celebrate the Steelers changing the narrative on their team about 50 years ago this month. So if you're a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers and you want to check out some awesome displays and artifacts, celebrating the Steelers, making sure you make your way to Canton, Ohio on January 20th to check out that display. Another thing I want to talk about, you talk about being in the room with all those people. And, we talk about the idea of respect, and everybody in the room knows how important it is, but where there is a certain level of respect when you're on the football field for your opponent across the line from you. But I want to talk about that level of respect when you're in that room. So for those of you that don't know, every August, there's a special luncheon in Canton, Ohio, where it's only Hall of Famers. No staff, no media, no cameras. If you have a gold jacket, you're allowed to be in that room. If not, you're not allowed. You're in those rooms with those people you grew up watching, stars that I grew up watching. What is that level of respect like in that room when it's just Hall of Famers?
You have the class that are going in, so then you have a guy from each era that gets up and talks to them and tell them about their story and about what they, how much they appreciate being in the Hall. And you have guys like Bobby Bell, who has been in the Hall for 30-some years and has never missed an enshrinement. So you have guys that really love being in the Hall and guys that come back every year and however they're feeling, and they love being there and being a part of it. Like I said, it's a special group, and you got to cherish it because it's life. So a lot of them guys are a lot older. It's guys in the 70s, 80s, and I remember watching being there, Forrest Gregg walking around. It's Forrest Gregg. So yeah, Bob St. Clair. These guys are, they're the this is Green Bay Packer. Vince Lombardi. So it's like I said, it's special to be around those guys, and you got to soak it up and listen to them talk, and because like I said, tomorrow's not promised, and we have to appreciate our time here on this planet. We have there's an end game here. It's not the end, but there's an end game down here.
Talk a lot about the end of your career in the Hall of Fame. I want to flash back to the beginning of your career. You get drafted out of a small school to the Saints, top 10 pick. What was that welcome to the NFL moment? That moment where you either something in practice or there was a moment, first couple games, where you went up against somebody like, all right, this is a little bit different than it is at Louisiana Tech. What was that welcome to the NFL moment for you?
Well, I had a welcome moment when I'm practicing against Ricky Jackson every day, who was in the Hall of Fame with me my rookie year, city champ from Pahokee. I say Reggie White. I was a right tackle my rookie year, and then I moved to left. I got to play Reggie. I got to meet Reggie in Arkansas at Keith Jackson, had a benefit basketball game when he kind of set up everything with free agency. If y'all don't know, Reggie White's the minister of defense. He was a preacher and a football player. And I got to play Reggie my first year in New Orleans, and I held my own against him because he had a hump move where he would just toss guys. He would come up and just throw guys out of the way, and he was strong, like very, very strong, stronger than most humans. So, but playing against him, and holding my own was, I felt good about that game. Now, I will tell you this. I played Derek Thomas one week, and I played good against DT. And then welcome to the NFL, I played against Washington. They had a football player named Ken Harvey. And he didn't say a word. He just was coming on me, and he hit the quarterback 4 or 5 times. Like, I ain't never heard of this dude. So it's the NFL. Any week, it might not be.
Get you.
Anybody can get you. It's not, you might play good against a guy that has a big name, but, Mike Mamula, these guys, you think everybody can play. So you got to be ready to play at that level every week. And that's the difference with the NFL, learning how to be a pro and then coming back and being able to do it every week. And then to become a Hall of Famer, you have to put that together for so many years. And that's why that's so special, because you're able to play at a level and you're able to do it for a long period of time, long enough to get to the Hall.
Awesome. All right. We got time for a few more questions here, and I'd be remiss. We're about to enter week 1 of the playoffs here in the NFL season. couple quick takes. What do you see in the NFL season? What are we looking for? Who are those teams you think that might end up playing in Las Vegas here in a little under a month?
In the AFC, it's going to be tough for anybody to beat Baltimore. They got the most balanced team. They're healthy. They look good. You know, I live in Florida, so I watch the Dolphins. All the injuries, I was sad about that. On the NFC side of things, I would like to see the Cowboys do well this year. It's been a while since they made a run.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to play the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are stacked. They got a good football team. But on the NFC side, the 49ers have been up and down. I really don't know who in the NFC who's going to come out of it. But I would have to say Baltimore is the most complete football team right now.
All right. Last question here today. And before I ask it, I do want to thank you so much for giving up some of your time today to be a part of this program. It's how we end every program. If you tune with us with Forward, just a nice way to send everybody out with kind of that one last great message. So it could be something you've talked about already, something we haven't touched on. But if anybody watching this program today in this classroom, online, whatever it might be, they can only remember one thing. What's that one nugget of information, that one thing that you want them to walk away with today?
Football is a great sport. It's taught me a lot in life. I'm still learning a lot in life, and regardless of what's going on in this world you all live in, understand that there is a higher being, and we have to honor him. And regardless from Willie Roaf, the Hall of Famer, or whoever, I had to get on my knees at night and thank God for the gifts I was given, and understand that we have accountability. And I just want all of them to have a good year, and all these young men and women to do the best they can, and treat each other like they want to be treated.
Awesome. Well, with that, we're going to wrap up this installment of the Pro Football Hall of Fame's Heart of a Hall of Famer series, connected by Extreme Network, featuring this gentleman sitting here to my left, Mr. Willie Roaf. Let's give Willie one big round of applause for being here today. Thank you so much for tuning in, students. Thank you for all the great questions. We hope to have you tune in for another program soon. We'll have a bunch more this semester before the school year wraps up, so we hope to see you again. Bye, everybody.